What's going on YouTube? AKingsCreation again, back again with another guide that will help new players, current players, even veterans or solo players in general, because this is catered to the solo players. Now, realistically, the first mistake I'm just going to go ahead and rip off the bat is the fact that you're solo. You cannot be solo in the end game. You're going to have to get into a guild. Now, the only reason why I continuously make this mistake is because I am only going to apply to top guilds. Why? Because I am naturally that skilled. Now, I'm not saying a big ego. It's just like every game I've played in a top clan and a top guild within that game. So I just expect that we'll do the same with this game. Now, these guilds require 2.9 to 3k stats, and I'm not even there yet. So I'm not going to bother applying anywhere else until I get there. Now, the point is, that's just one of the mistakes as being a solo player is, and the biggest mistake is that you can't be solo in this game in the end game. Now, you really can. But if you really want to get to that high end game, you can't. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down mistake number 2. Okay, mistake number 2 is not picking up these mysterious books or pages laying around in the open world. Especially if you're solo, I don't even understand why you're not doing this. Make sure you go ahead and do this, because if you do this, it will give you 3 Ornate coins. Okay, so these Ornate coins, if you go to the shop, you see how I only have 5. It's because I used it, right? I had it like over 1,500 of them, right? So if you go all the way down to the bottom, these Ornate coins you can use to buy different materials, and especially the enchanted ink, because this is what you're going to need for one of the other mistakes that I'm going to tell you about. And also fishing bait. Not getting the fishing bait chest every single time you I'll talk about it in another mistake, but you can get it here. I highly recommend buying as much as you can. There's monthly stocks, okay? Buy them as much as possible, especially the trait extraction stone. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and say all 4 of these on this entire row you must get with these Ornate coins. Okay, try to max them out, like I said. All right, so that is mistake number 2. I see a lot of solo players not even doing this. That's absurd. All right, okay, before we get into mistake number 3, let me go ahead and explain these properly to you guys on why these are important. Number 1, fishing bait chest. You're going to need this because it sells at the contract merchant daily, so you will have a limit on being able to get it. So this is another way of getting more fishing bait so you can continue fishing. Now, why do you need to fish? You need to fish to level up so you can be able to use the fish to cook. And why do you need to cook in this game? Well, in order to cook in this game, you need to make meals and buffs that give you like attack speed bonuses, or like mana regeneration bonuses, stuff like that, right? That is huge in PvP or PvE, especially in the end game. You're going to need to use food buffs to keep you alive longer, right? Now, the enchanted ink. Now, this is used for the auction, especially in the auction house, because when you have, like, say for example, extra armor or weapons that you don't need, but they have good traits on them, you can extract those traits and then get the enchanted ink and craft blank lithographs, and then put those armor pieces onto the lithograph, and then you can sell those on the market for lucent. What is lucent, guys? This currency up here that actually costs real money. You see what I'm saying? So you can build up lucent by actually selling gear and weapons that you no longer need, right? And remember how I said about the trait extraction? Now these two go hand in hand, because you need to extract traits. Also, you can sell those on the market too, just extracted trait weapons or gear, right? So you're going to need this stone especially. So this is another reason why you would need this. Now, the precious blessing pouch. This is huge because what it does is it gives you purple armor, or gives you a chance at purple armor. But most of the time it gives you a lot allied resistant forces contract, which can be used to get additional gear, weapons, or like high-end resources. So you can get a chance at getting a purple item, and also do the same thing by selling it on the auction if you don't have the right one or get the right one you need, right? So that's why those 4 are very important to do. Now let's go to mistake number 3. Okay, another huge mistake, especially as solo players, is not keeping up with your contract rights. For me, for example, I had 65 over 60. So basically I had way more contract rights than I needed to, but because of the fact that I wasn't doing them. Very important to do your contracts, guys, especially daily, because what they do is not only does it give you training dew, which is the little teardrops, as you guys can see, that also boosts your, for example, if you have a staff and dagger like me, it boosts the mastery of them, and you can get additional damage done, or different additional cooldown on them. So it's very important to do these daily if you want to increase your overall power. Now, not only do these contracts give you that, but it also gives you different resources, as you guys can see. Now, not only does it give you resources, but you see how all these have like one eye on them. Basically, it's just level 1 or tier 1. Sometimes you have a chance to get tier 2 or even tier 3. Trying to grab one of the tier 1s and then refreshing so you can get tier 2 or a chance at tier 2. And if you keep getting ones like I am right now, then what I do is just click on one and then move on and refresh it, and then hopefully the next page will give me 2. Not only, remember what I talked to you guys about the precious blessing pouch? You have a chance to get the precious blessing pouch from one of these contracts. It's just, if you get the lucky refresh roll, you might end up having one as a reward. So that is very important, because remember what I told you guys, it comes with purple gear, or a chance at purple gear, but also high end resources. So it's very useful to always keep up with your contracts and do them daily. I highly recommend going all the way to 0. Like, say for example, I had 65 last night and now I'm at 32. I'm going to continue to go all the way to 0. Now, I wanted to give you guys another tip. Now, this is not a mistake. This is just part of that same mistake, okay? When you go to your battle pass and you get star crystals, when you go to the shop, if you go down, you can actually increase your contract. You can get more resistance contracts by using those crystals. So that's also a huge thing I wanted to mention to you guys. And also, I think that's a bundle. Yeah, it says 10. For this one, you can get 1 for 50. So this is 10 for 300 and 1 for 50, right? So I highly recommend doing that if you want to keep on getting contract. So that is mistake number 3 that a lot of people make, especially me. I didn't really care too much about the contract. I was just trying to figure out ways to upgrade. And to truth be told, this is the way to upgrade, right? Especially on the end game. So that is mistake number 3 that a lot of solo players are not focusing on, is to do these contracts. Okay, now let's work on mistake number 4. All right, so mistake number 4 is when you basically every day you log in, especially if you're not playing in the AM and then waking up and you're still like not refreshed with the daily limits. For example, you have to go to the sun-dried merchant. Once you go to the sun-dried merchant, especially in Vieta, I would probably just recommend going to Vieta for village for a lot of stuff. Especially in my fishing and cooking guides, I've also told you guys this. Especially for cooking purposes, I highly recommend getting golden rye. This is a daily limit of 10. And what this does is it actually, you're able to craft or cook bread that gives you 15% additional experience to your fishing. So if you like your fishing, I highly recommend actually getting that bread so you can get more XP while you're fishing, so it doesn't take as long. But also with the sun-dried merchants, the allied resistant forces contracts are also in here, but you can only get 3 weekly and then 6 weekly for this one. So I highly recommend getting these once you they reset every week. So this is why it's very important to go to these merchants daily and weekly. Okay, so that is mistake number 1. Now this is also in the same mistake. Remember what I was talking about, the contract merchant, right? And I was telling you guys that they sell the enchanted ink and the precious blessing pouch and the trait extraction stone. So these are also another way of buying more of them. Now you have to do the contracts. That was in our previous mistake where I said you have to do contracts. Not only do you get those rewards from the contracts, but they give you coins so you can buy weekly limits of the trait extraction stone, the enchanted ink, and the daily limit of the precious blessing pouch. So you have to get these. Also the mystic key too, because these open mystic portals so you can get additional rewards. The fishing bait, I've already explained that. This is also another way of getting that. Okay, I will put out another video or another guide on how to increase your or upgrade your fishing rod, because I am actually on the green one now, and I know I'm about to get the purple one real soon. Not the purple one, the blue one real soon. This is another way of doing it. Now this is really expensive, the 1500, the chest. I highly recommend not doing this unless you ran out of contract coins, or you just have an abundance of contract coins, then you can buy one of these, right? So that is another mistake that most solo players are not paying attention to. Okay, now for the final mistake. All right, the last and final mistake that I wanted to mention to most players that are solo, especially their PvE and PvP, is to do the events when they come up. Now, this is huge and it's probably been talked about around YouTube, but it's very important. Okay, the only reason why I'm saying this is because if you're not in a guild, this is the best way to still kind of participate in activities, because guilds have their own activities as well. That's why I said, and for mistake number one, that not being in a guild is like the hugest mistake ever, right? But I wanted to make sure you guys realize that these are time schedules, so that's why they're important to do when they come up. But you see how we have like co-op festival of fire, peace ones, and then conflict ones. Now, if you're not a PvP player, stay away from the conflict ones unless you're going to get smoked. Okay, now if you're a PvE player, only focus on the peace event. I've done the wolf hunting contest about 2 or 3 times, but I highly recommend doing one of each, because each event has a codex to it. So basically, if you do one of each, you're going to get different rewards, or potentially even better rewards. So I highly recommend testing out all events and then just seeing which one you like the most and then which one gives you the best rewards. Now, for a beginner, like starting out, the wolf hunting contest is like your first event that you should probably focus on. And then once you're towards the end game, there are higher events. I haven't done any other event yet other than the wolf hunting one, because I just wanted to start understanding the game more and understanding these events. So I will be diving into the end game events and probably focusing on those because they give end game rewards. So this is a final mistake that a lot of solo players are not paying attention to. You have to do these scheduled events. So while you're like, fishing or fighting or doing something like that, keep your eye on the content schedule so you can see what event is coming up next. Now, I'm just gonna give you guys a bonus mistake, because I probably won't even cover it in a different video. Make sure you guys do your secret dungeons also, and also make sure you guys do your co-op dungeons, because these co-op dungeons, you get daily charges, like especially if you're over 50, you get like 900 a day. So if you don't do your co-op dungeons, then you're just going to let this accrue, and then it's going to be maxed out at 4500 or above, right? And then you don't want it to be maxed out, so you have to go ahead and do your co-op dungeons. And it's a good way to like say if you're doing too many contracts, you're bored, you want to do something else like a boss or a dungeon, this will be a good way of doing it. Now, the Halloween event is going on right now, so I highly recommend definitely doing it so you can get the Halloween rewards. But also, different bosses come with like potentially purple gear. You can probably get purple gear too. And like I said before, you can sell it on the auction or take the traits off of them if you don't like them. So that is the final mistake and bonus mistakes that I wanted to showcase to everybody. So now you should actually have a grasp of what you should do daily and weekly in this game to keep you going and keep the game refreshed for you. Now, I hope you guys understand that they will be coming out with newer content, so you gotta go ahead and start now. I hope this helped you all out, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you like the authenticity of my videos. Till next time, guys, catch you later. Peace.